Disney World over Disneyland. What attractions or lands are better in Walt Disney World versus Disneyland?
Nothing.
No. Today on this show, we're going to talk about our top picks, attractions or lands that we think are better in Walt Disney World. If you haven't had the chance to visit Disneyland, though, it should be on your list someday. I think it's a great place to visit, and we really like it.
Yes, you have to visit Disneyland. It's one of my favorite places to visit. It's actually become my favorite park to visit. Even though Disney World is our home base and where we go quite frequently, Disneyland just has a special place, and I absolutely love Disneyland. But this is going to be hard for me because this is things that are better in Disney World, even though we love Disneyland very much. So let's start. We're going to name a couple things each, but I also want to know what you like in the comments below. Make sure you hit subscribe, like this channel. We do a new video like this every single Tuesday. And check out our podcast.
Single Tuesday.
Yeah, mostly we do.
Mostly every single, yes.
And also check out our podcast. We'll link all that up in the description below this video.
All right, my first pick is Dumbo the Flying Elephant. This one is hard because it's an opening day classic in Disneyland. It was an original attraction that was opened with the park, Disneyland Park, in 1955. So obviously Walt had his hands on this particular attraction. However, I do think Imagineers have done an incredible job bringing it to Walt Disney World, and now you have this whole play area while you wait, which is really fun. In the big top 10, it's pretty cool.
I think you're right. I think Dumbo is better in Disney World over Disneyland. I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of Dumbo when I was going through my list, but you're right. I do believe that Dumbo is better in Disney World over Disneyland.
It is especially better at night, too.
Yes.
The colors of the whole land and the attraction itself just come alive at night. It's beautiful to see.
First one on my list?
Yeah.
Astro Orbiter.
That's a really good one because I was so disappointed when we went to Disneyland and saw kind of how small Astro Orbiter is, right? Because it's lower on the ground.
Yeah, it just seems small. It's almost like Disneyland made it the land, right? And they're like, oh, we forgot to put Astro Orbiter in.
Whose fault is that?
What are we going to do now? I know. Put it right there.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. Whereas in Disney World, you think of Astro Orbiter, you think of flying in a spaceship, you're up high,
right?
You're overseeing Tomorrowland. It's in the perfect location, even though it's a similar ride.
Right.
It's similar, right? They're both the same. Just the location alone makes it so much better in Disney World over Disneyland.
They both look like they're not going to be that fast. Let me just tell you right now, it's one of the most thrilling attractions. I do think you're absolutely right. The Walt Disney World version is a must-do. Like, we can skip the Disneyland one. Like, we don't have to always go.
And we often do.
We often do when we're over there. But the Walt Disney World, especially if you can time it where it's the evening, you can maybe even see fireworks happening when you're on there. It's a really fantastic and thrilling. Like, who would ever thought? It doesn't really look that, I don't want to say scary because it's not scary, but it's pretty fast.
It's a lot faster than you think it is. When you're up there and you get going, especially if you try to squeeze two adults in one, don't do that.
Don't do that.
It's not recommended because
No.
you'll feel very rushed getting the attraction going because it's almost like you can't fit and they're like starting it up and you're like, wait, don't go yet. I'm not fully in yet.
It's almost like a weird effect where I feel like I'm going to pop out out of my rocket ship versus actually feeling comforted because it's two bigger people.
Yeah, not big man friendly, that's for sure.
Okay, that's a good one. My next one is the Monorail. And I know that's kind of cheating because in Disneyland, it's much, much smaller. But in Walt Disney World, it's not only an attraction, but it's the mode of transportation. But I had to put it in there because it is a classic feeling, it's not just transportation in Walt Disney World. And if you're using it for that, that's fine. But for me, like, I just love riding it. To me, when we were in Disneyland, again, it's a classic, and it's something you should try once, but it's not necessarily something I have to ride over and over again. It's very small. The seats are tiny. They must have been really tiny.
Does it smell like horses in the Disneyland one it does Disney World?
It does not have the scent, any weird odor.
It's not farm fresh?
It's not farm fresh in Disneyland, so you got me on there. But it is better in Walt Disney World for a variety of reasons. The number one being that it's actually spacious.
And number two, you can go on the monorail in Walt Disney World without needing a ticket to the park.
Yeah.
So it's like an attraction in and of itself. Just don't go peak transportation time for people because it will very much smell like horses and you'll regret your decision to do that.
We still haven't figured out why that happens, but we will break that news to you once we find out.
All right, next one for me. Big Thunder Mountain.
Big Thunder
Big
Mountain.
Thunder Mountain. To me, much better in Disney World over Disneyland. It's close.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one.
But I feel like the location of Big Thunder Mountain in Disney World is better located than Disneyland.
It kind of just plops on top of you in Disneyland, right?
Listen,
like,
everything plops on top of you in Disneyland. That's the charm of Disneyland.
Yeah.
You can walk 100 yards and get plopped on 17 rides.
That's true.
You know, that's the charm of Disneyland.
Do you need to set up the scene a little better? Maybe in Disneyland, there's not enough storytelling until you, like, all of a sudden you see it. It's like there in front of you.
Yeah, Disney World, you're kind of walking towards it through Frontierland, and you kind of see it in the distance. You walk by Splash Mountain, you see Tom Sawyer Island over to your right. You know it's coming up. You get to see the wait time, and you just run over there to go on Big Thunder Mountain, and it's just perfectly located. I love it.
Yeah.
It's great, too. Visually, if you're on the boat going around, you know, maybe on the steamboat, you get to take a ride on the steamboat. You get to see great views of Big Thunder Mountain, too.
I'm partial to this. I don't know if I agree with you or not. So.
The attraction itself may not be better, but I feel like if you have to take the location, the visuals, the ride, I think for me, it's better in Disney World.
Just because I'm not agreeing with you off the bat doesn't mean, like...
You made me second guess my decision.
You don't have to change your answer on my account.
I kind of second guess my decision, but I'm sticking with it.
This time, anyways. Yeah. I'll let it slide.
All right.
I'm just kidding. I don't really know. I don't really know if I've ever weighed the two together to really decide which one I like better, but good one. Okay.
All right, next for you.
Next one. This is going to be controversial because a lot of people feel like this one is their home park and their home attraction, but I got to say, Space Mountain in Walt Disney World is much more better.
Yes.
First of all, I really like sitting alone in my rocket ship. Some people have said they prefer Space Mountain in Disneyland due to the fact that they can bring their kids and they can sit side by side and enjoy the attraction together, which, don't get me wrong, that's cool. But when you're going into space and you're feeling that thrill, there's nothing more satisfying than just shooting up into space and kind of not knowing where you're going to land. And sometimes that fear of making sure your kid's still there is kind of fun.
You know what? And if you have to leave your kid on the side and go on alone, it's fun too.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Sally, I'm taking this one by myself. There's only one ticket on this rocket ship, and I'm taking it.
And you're taking it?
Yeah. I agree. Way better in Disneyland. I think that...
No, I didn't say that.
I did.
It's way better in Disneyland?
I'm sorry. No, it's not.
Back it up.
Back the thing up.
Okay.
Beep, beep, beep. Back it up here.
Yeah.
It's way better in Disney World.
All right.
I just think the location, the queue, the single riderness of it, I love it.
Not knowing if your 6-year-old is going to make it back or not, or she's just going to hang out in Venus.
I don't know. Like, raising your hands has a slight factor of risk involved in Disney World.
True.
And I like that.
Yeah.
I like that if I raise my hands too high, I may not come back with both of them.
Now, that being said, I'm not going to miss Space Mountain in Disneyland. I'm going to go on it as many times as I possibly can because I love the attraction. But if I had to pick, it's Walt Disney World all day long. And I think in the Disneyland version, it's a little more retro. Like the music they play, it's very 60s retro, kind of going up to space. Whereas in Walt Disney World, I really do feel like this is how you get to a different planet.
Plus, taking the picture when you're alone, like when you're alone, going around the corner and the camera happens to just take that photo of you, you can do so much more silly things when you're sitting alone than when you're sitting next to somebody.
Great. Good to know.
You know?
All right. Perfect. What silly things are you doing?
I don't know. I think I'm going to leave that for a different podcast.
Okay, sounds good. Next one.
Next one for me.
Okay.
This is my last one.
Okay.
And it's not necessarily a ride, but it has to do with every ride.
Okay.
The queues in Disney World are all better than Disney.
Yeah.
And that's not saying that Disneyland is bad.
Yeah.
But Disney World has the factor of space.
Right.
They have the space to do these queues that lead you to the ride and tell the story and also keep you a little bit more entertained than in Disneyland. Disneyland, they're very much, when it gets busy, you're on the sidewalk.
You're just,
You're not in the attraction or on the ride. You are part of the blockage of the passageway.
Right.
You know, and it's hot and everything's out in the sun and there's not much they can do about it because they don't have as much land as they do in Disney World. So for me, the queues, if I'm going to wait in line, I would much rather wait in line at rides and attractions at Disney World than Disneyland.
I agree with you, except for the fact that I think Fantasyland, although it doesn't have anything outdoor-ish queue-wise, like that's spectacular, because again, Disneyland does lack space.
Yeah.
There's something about the charm of it being close together that I prefer better in Disneyland. We talked about that on another show.
Listen, I'm grasping at straws here. I love Disneyland. I was trying to come up with some things that make Disney World better.
I think that, I mean, it's a good, I think there's a few here that are just hands down much better, and this is going to be my last one.
Yeah.
Hands down, better in Walt Disney World. Can't even do it really. I mean, let me say that again. Yeah. I'm doing everything in Disneyland. I'm going on as many things as possible, but it does make me miss Disney World when I'm here, and that is a whole entire land, Tomorrowland.
Yeah, Tomorrowland is way better in Disney World. I agree.
It is. Yeah. I mean, again, they have the space so they can add more things. I know some people were really heartbroken if they remember that the People Mover came from actually Disneyland and is in Walt Disney World. So that hands down makes it better. And then there's the Carousel of Progress. So there's a lot of things happening in Tomorrowland that just, it makes you really feel like you've traveled to a different part of the world. And yes. I love that. Well, you are. You're going to a different planet when you're going
to tomorrow.
You're going to tomorrow. So for that reason, Tomorrowland in Walt Disney World is far better than Disneyland. Sorry, Disneyland.
Listen, I'm not sorry because I love Disneyland. And this was hard for me to do because to me, when you said, hey, let's do a show where we talk about what's better in Disney World over Disneyland, there's not a whole lot that I would prefer in Disney World over Disneyland. Now, that's not saying I don't like Disney World. I love it there. Very much so.
Okay.
But I just think Disneyland...
Well, I hope so. You do a Disney podcast.
Well, I like Disneyland. Disneyland is still Disney.
True.
But what I'm saying is I want to try to get as many people to take the trek over to California. And even if you feel like it's far or there's not as much to do there, if you enjoy Disney World, you're going to very much love Disneyland.
A good point. I think that it took us a couple of visits to really figure it out. And so we're hoping that by listening to us and kind of hearing our fails, maybe it will help you have the best time and best trip the first time when you go to Disney.
You know what else is better in Disney World?
What's that?
Pizza Planet. There isn't a Pizza Planet in Disney World, but the pizza in Disney World is much better than Disneyland.
Okay.
Pizza Planet, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Okay. We should stop now.
Looking right at you.
We're going to stop.
All right, that's it. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here on YouTube. Do us a favor, really much help us. Hit the like button on this video. Drop a comment below what you think is better in Disney World over Disneyland. Maybe you haven't been to Disneyland. What do you think you want to try in Disneyland? Whatever the comment is, throw it below. Subscribe to our podcast too. And this YouTube video is brought to you by Unlocking the Magic Travel. See you next time.
We hope you like it.
Yes.
Bye, everybody.